Hey everyone, welcome to the JavaScript course. So this is a JavaScript course that is meant for beginners. So if you are just interested in learning a program, you don't know how to program, and all this is new to you, um, this is the course for you. Or if you already know how to program and you want to learn JavaScript, this course will help you learn JavaScript as well. Um, so this is they're going to be the first section. Our first section is going to be going over the environment, setting things up, and just kind of the layout of the course. So in this first video, I'm going to go over the just the kind of like the syllabus, and yeah, we're going to go over the syllabus. And if you guys have any questions about it, let me know. Um, then after that, I'll go into using, there's two different IDEs you can use. You can actually use any IDE you want if you know how to set it up. But again, since this is targeting people that have never programmed, there's going to be two different IDEs that I would recommend. One of them is going to be really easy to set up. It's an online web IDE. And also, if you don't have a computer, you can also use this specific IDE on your mobile device. You can download it. The other one is VS Code that I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of, maybe you haven't, but that one is a little bit, there's a little more to it to get it set up, but it's not too bad. Okay, so let's go over this really quick. So here you can see the layout of the course. These are, there's going to be 12 sections. You have the midterm and the final here. I mean, you don't really have to do the midterm or the final if you don't want to, but it's there. Um, the first this is what we're doing right now is just setting things up. That's week one or section one, however you want to call it. And then we're going to get into variables, data types, math, conditionals, etc. You guys can see here all of the different things and the assignments that they're going to correlate, and they're going to test you on all of these things. Okay, so course expectations. They're Again, you don't really have to know how to program. Um, as long as you know how to use a computer, which you probably do if you've made your way to this to this course, you can probably use a computer. But yeah, so as long as you can use a computer, you should be fine. There's going to be again installing some programs, maybe. But the other thing that is needed that people might need to brush up on is some math. You don't need anything crazy, okay? Just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, stuff. That's really it. The main four things that you do in math that you learn in grade school. Um, that's really all you need for this. A lot of people have this misconception that oh, to be good at programming or to even attempt programming, I have to be really good at math. I have to know all of this calculus. I have to know all of this algebra and linear algebra, and you don't need all of that. That is some professions within computer science do use some of those things, though you would be surprised they don't use them as much as sometimes they lead on. There's some of it, definitely stats. If you're into machine learning or you're getting a data science kind of stuff, there is some there's some math behind, there's some stats behind that can get kind of in depth a little bit. But if you're just trying to do regular web development or just regular programming, you're just trying to go get a regular software engineer job, this is all you need. That's a secret. It's like the best kept secret. It really shouldn't be a secret, but it is. You don't need anything more than these. I can promise you that. Now, if you don't know these, you might have some problems with some sections, specifically, when you're doing the credit card payment and the calculator, stuff like that, mathematical pairs. So there's a couple of things in here that do use a little bit of math, but again, it's nothing intense, right? It's calculating a credit card payment. That's going to be probably the most math heavy thing you're going to do. So if you can calculate a credit card payment on paper, you should be able to do it in code. But that's the most you'll ever see, probably even in real life, honestly. It's not as again, it's really not as math heavy as some people like to lead on. Okay, so that's for the course expectations. Setup environment. Okay, so I'm going to go over both of these in the next couple of sections here, but The main thing to know is that there is an online one called Repellent.com. It is free. You just make an account, and I'm going to show you in the next sections here how to use Repellent. I would recommend using Repellent because it is going to be the easiest thing to get set up. Okay, setting up can be a pain in the butt for some people, especially when you're first starting out. You've never set up in a development environment. It can be a doozy to get things figured out and working the way that you want. So um, again, to mitigate that, you just use this online IDE. And again, it's super easy. And I'm going to show you. I can guarantee you, you will have very, very little. It's very little effort to get up and running in this. The other one is called Visual Studio Code. So I do part of the class I will do in Repellent. The second part I'll probably do in Visual Studio Code, so you guys can see how both look. Um, and again, this one requires a little bit more setup. It's still not too bad, but it does require some setup. So you want to here's the download link for it. You can download it, you install it. I don't think I'll show you how to install it. You guys should be able to do that, or if you don't know, just look online, Google a tutorial on how to install Visual Studio Code, and it's pretty straightforward. You can go on YouTube and find that a little, explanation for that. The other thing we're going to use, if you do use Visual Studio Code, you want to use what's called Code Runner. Okay, well, let me explain the extensions first. So Visual Studio Code has these things that are called extensions, and they're like little add-ons on top of Visual Studio Code to help you with your development. So one of them, and this is the most important one that you have to have, otherwise you can't use it, is called Code Runner, and that essentially lets you run your code easily, just with the click of a button. Um, there's alternatives to this. You could install Node.js. Um, if you're interested in going down that route, that's a lot more difficult. It's not, again, none of this is that hard to do. It's more involved and it can get tedious. So, if that's something you're interested in, just go ahead and Google that. You can look into it. It's called Node.js. And you'll see Node.js actually in Repellent. But anyway, that's a whole nother can of worms. So this is a mandatory extension, and I will show you how to install that. Then there's a couple of optional ones. ESLint just kind of helps you with code suggestions and just helps you pick up on errors. And then Prettier. Prettier is just a code formatter. So as you see me coding in Visual Studio Code, you'll notice there's a specific format, and that is because of Prettier. Prettier automatically formats the code, and it just makes it a little bit easier to follow and gives it some uniformity. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into um, Repellent.